Welcome to your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference. We explore topics, local festivals, arts and entertainment, and local news. For this program and much more, visit us online at yourlocalstream.com. That's yourlocalstream.com.
Welcome to your Walton County YMCA. My name is Angie Putman, and I'm the CEO of YMCA of Georges Piedmont, and I've been with the Y for about 30 years, and I've been in this association for about 11 years. So we started working on this really hard about 7 years ago, and it's just turned out way better than I expected. It's just a beautiful YMCA, but thank you all for coming. Our staff and board are thrilled to be adding this Walton County Y in Monroe, Georgia. This will be our third branch. We have the Brad Akins Y, the Bell Family Y, and now the Walton County YMCA. Our mission is to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build a healthy spirit, mind, and body for all. We are a Christian organization, but we welcome everybody from Walton County to come in our doors and to work out and take better care of themselves. This YMCA will offer a safe environment for families to learn, grow, and thrive. We'll have a variety of programs that include swim lessons. We expect to do about 400 or 500 children a year, teaching them how to swim, which is huge. A lot of kids in Walton County, we found out, don't know how to swim. We'll have a year-round swim team, and it's already started. So if you know anybody that wants to do swim team, come join our swim team. We have 8 lanes in there. We'll have aqua exercise. Those classes have been full for the last 2 weeks. We're so excited about that. We'll do group exercise classes, child watch for those moms who need a break and want to come put your baby in the nursery and go work out. We also have an after-school program in the fall, summer day camp this summer, and we have a state-of-the-art wellness center, and it is beautiful. This is all for Walton County to become healthier. We want all of y'all to be healthier and have great lives. I want to thank our staff and our board and our donors for all the hard work. We've been working on this a long time, and for making this reality a dream, or this dream a reality. I also want to recognize our branch executive director here, Meredith Green. Where are you at, Meredith? If you have an issue, call Meredith, don't call me. No, Meredith has done a great job. She's been out in the community, going to every event. She's been just all over this place. I think all of you have probably met her. She's been everywhere, and she has far exceeded my expectations on getting out in the community and meeting people. So Meredith, you're doing a great job. Thank you. I also want to say a shout out to Kelly, our fitness director, and Kate, our membership director, and Tina, our aquatics, VP of aquatics. Also EJ, our swim coach, and then our staff from Winder. Our staff has just really supported each other and stepped up and helped make this possible. So thank you to all the staff for all your hard work. We couldn't do this without our staff. And again, thank you to our board and our committee members and all the donors. Also, it's my pleasure now to introduce Ronnie Kendall. He's going to say our prayer, and he's with Loganville Baptist Church.
In the Old Testament, there's a group of guys called the sons of Issachar, and it says that they were men who understood their times. That's what this is. It's a group of people who came together for several years working towards something that would be good for the community because we understand the times we're living in. I just want you to know from a pastor's perspective who's been on the board for at least the last couple of years that this is a Christian facility. If you walk in the doors today, you'll see a Bible at the front door. That's because that's the priority in which we've placed on this place. This is different than just any kind of health club that you might walk into. It's a place that has a Christian perspective. And we hope that you understand that as you walk in the doors today and as you begin to be a part and a participant in it. Would you pray with me today? Father, we're grateful for your goodness and your mercy. and your kindness in a project like this. There's too many people to even think about mentioning who have brought this together, from a donor standpoint, from the board, from the people who work here. And God, I'm just grateful that you've allowed me to be a part of the process. God, as we look at this place and we sense it and we see what it can be, we look forward to the future for all the kids who walk through the doors, for the people whose lives are changed here, not only from a health perspective, but from a spiritual perspective. As people who lead these groups and work in the facility have a relationship with you, it is our hope and our prayer that others will begin to have that same relationship. So God, we just ask for your favor on this place. We ask that you continue to provide the funds needed to not only provide for this one, but for future stages. We ask that you would just continue to give us the wisdom, as the sons of Issachar had in the days when they came to the nation of Israel, to be able to see and sense what you have for us. We love you. We thank you. Even as we just celebrated our greatest day of the year, we're thankful for all that you've done for us and the sacrifice you've made for us today. We love you and we praise you and we thank you. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning. My name is Gary Hobbs, and along with Ben Garrett, we have been honored to serve as the campaign leadership team co-chairs for this extremely important project for our county. As you are all aware, this day has been a long time coming. We're here today because of the hard work and dedication of many people who served on various committees through the process of planning, facility development, and fundraising. This has been a county-wide initiative supported by hundreds of people who have donated personally or in the name of their business or company. Our journey to this occasion has been complicated by the COVID pandemic, supply chain concerns, and rising prices. Our board and the entire community have been determined and even driven to ensure the success of this project. Our board has been meeting monthly for several years and have stayed the course. We would like to recognize our board members at this time. Board members, please raise your hand so we could give you a rounding sound of applause. Raise your hand up high, please. Thank you so much for your service. It is my privilege this morning to recognize a number of people and organizations that have been instrumental in bringing us to this ribbon cutting. It is not possible to recognize everyone who has played a part. However, we must show our appreciation to some who have made significant contributions to this project. Without the donation of the 38 acres of land we are standing on, we would not be here today. This YMCA has been a vision of Lee Rowell's for years. We would like to recognize Lee and Judy Rowell and the entire Rowell family as we render our appreciation for their generosity and sacrifice to make this possible. Judy and Lee, please stand. Working on a project of this magnitude and duration can be difficult. There have been many highs and lows during the process. Being able to work with great people who deeply care about their community makes it much easier. I would like to recognize three of these people at this time. Ben Garrett as our campaign leadership team co-chair, Meredith Malcolm and Lee Garrett served as our fundraising campaign co-chairs. They have done a tremendous job. Please thank them for their hard work. The Walton County Healthcare Foundation is dedicated to supporting initiatives that improve the health and well-being of the citizens of Walton County. This mission is shared by the YMCA. We want to show our appreciation at this time to CEO Ben Garrett and the board members of the foundation for their partnership and significant support for the construction of the aquatic center that contains an 8-lane meat-certified pool and a warm water therapy pool. Please join me in thanking them, and I'd like them to raise their hands if they're board members on the Healthcare Foundation. Without their support, we would not be here yet. It would be a long time coming. The Walton County YMCA will be the third branch of the YMCA of Georgia's Piedmont. The other two branches are in Winder and Hartwell, as Angie mentioned. Angie Putman serves as the CEO. Angie and her staff from the Brad Akins branch in Winder have been instrumental as part of our team in providing professional guidance and encouragement through fundraising and development of plans for our YMCA. They're an outstanding group of professionals that make the YMCA successful through hard work, dedication, and deep concern for everyone that walks through the doors. Members of the Brad Akins Branch staff, please raise your hand so we can recognize you at this time. Raise them up high, please. As well as the support from the staff over in Winder, we are also grateful for the strong leadership and support from the Board of Directors from the YMCA of Georges Piedmont. As they raise their hands, we want to thank any members of this board that are present. Please raise your hands, any board members from Winder. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. The Walton County Board of Education has been a valued partner since the beginning of this initiative. They have provided office space and allowed our board to meet monthly at the board annex for several years. We deeply appreciate their assistance. Are there any board members here? Please raise your hand. I don't know if they're here today. A county-wide project of this magnitude is difficult to undertake without the support of our elected officials. We're extremely grateful to the mayors of our 7 cities in Walton County and our county commissioners. I know I've seen David Thompson here and Kirkland Dixon, who's also on our board. Are there any other commissioners here? And a special thanks to Mayor John Howard and the City of Monroe for all their assistance with infrastructure and utilities. If you're an elected official, please raise your hand so we could recognize you at this time. Last but certainly not least, an exemplary architect and contractor are necessary to bring it all together. Manley Spangler Smith has patiently worked with our team to design and redesign our facility to ensure it will serve our community well for years. We've had to cut, we've had to change things, and they've been so patient with us for a number of years to get this facility that's in front of us. I'd like to recognize the representatives from Manley Spangler Smith today: Brett McIver, Roger Bloodworth, Tammy Harry, Kendall Wiley, and Allison Smiley. Please give them a big hand. They're all here. Carroll Daniels Construction Company is a strong family-owned company that has been in business for years. We're elated that they have been an important part of our team in this endeavor. I'm going to call their first names only because there's several of them. Tommy and Tyler, Brandon, Gary, James, and Austin are here representing Carroll Daniels. Please raise your hand. Let's give them a big hand as well. And Gary, by the way, was the superintendent on this job, so he was here every day making sure things were done right. Thank you, Gary. And he is a Walton County citizen as well. Gary lives in Walton County. Lee Rowell, my good friend Lee Rowell, will now come up and talk to you a little about the history of this project, and you're going to be amazed.
Wow. I don't know what to say. Well, I do. Praise the Lord. It's been 17 years, 10 months, and 22 days since we had our first initial meeting for the YMCA. Kurt Stringfellow, who was our former director up at Winder, and Steve Poole organized a meeting at George Walton Academy. And this group met, and we decided to meet on a regular basis in the future. But we went through a process of just trying to figure out a way to bring the Y to the community. We didn't know what to do. And early in 2008, we raised some money to do a community needs assessment survey. And we discussed pilot programs, including swimming, and some of the things that we could do to outreach in the community. In 2008, you remember we had the Great Recession, and it was very, very tough on businesses, families, community. It was really hard to raise money at that time. But we continued to move forward, we persisted, and in 2011, our committee chose the site we're standing on today, which is about 15 acres at the time. Pushing forward, in 2012, Georgia DOT and the Federal Highway Administration approved the road project behind you, Highway 138, the extension. And at that time, our partnership agreed to give 15 acres initially for this site. And then in 2014 and 16, the road was being built, so we were trying to get access to the YMCA here. In 2017, our committee retooled right before COVID in 2020, and of course that created some challenges also. But we went ahead and did some SEER studies, and it was very supportive of bringing the YMCA to our community. We hired a professional fundraising group, FCD, and they helped us through this period, and we raised about $5 million at that time. In 2020, our partnership went ahead and decided to give an additional 23 acres, so that gave us a total of 38 acres here to work on our palette, if you will. So to this date, we've raised over $15 million, which is incredible for a community of this size. All need to be applauded for that. This journey has been a long and challenging one, but I want to thank so many folks, our committee chairs, our past committee members, the county, our local cities. It's been a community-wide effort, and I want y'all to realize that. That is so important. And I also want to thank all the people that have given their time, their talents, and their treasures to make this dream come true for our community. So as we meet, and as the chapter closes and we move forward, I want to encourage all of y'all to get involved in this YMCA. We've got a lot to do. We still have a gym to build over here, pickleball courts, 3 soccer fields, a lacrosse field, archery range, an outdoor pool over here. Those are just some of the things that we've got to do. So please get involved. This is your community center. So in conclusion, I just want to say, the other day we had our first board meeting here in the boardroom, and I was walking out the door, and as Ronnie said, there's a Bible at the front door when you check in. And I just happened to look, and it was the book of Job, and I went, wow. The word patience came to my mind immediately, and I walked out the door and I said, Lord, we've been patiently waiting for this day to come. So with that being said, let's all go inside and enjoy this day. Yep. Chip, where are you?
I agree. We should all just go inside. I think they've covered it all, but Lee Rowell and his family can't be mentioned enough. This 38-acre campus, when you look out back, it's pretty amazing. It's a beautiful spot. It's convenient for everybody in the county to get to and enjoy. And no one's, since Gary was speaking, he wasn't specifically mentioned earlier, but Gary is the type of board member that will literally do anything to help. He doesn't know it, but he may have been signed up to teach a Zumba class, whatever that is. He would do it, he really would. But it's been extremely rewarding to work for many years on this project. The staff is absolutely wonderful. The board members have worked really hard, but as has been alluded to, this is just the beginning. This is phase 1. Lee mentioned some of the things that we plan to do in the future, and we want to do all that now. But as you might imagine, a facility like this is very expensive, and we owe about, I don't know, $5 million on a line of credit right now, and I'd like to see no interest to be paid on that because we get it all paid off. But that takes donations from you guys. There is a donor wall that is not complete yet that is going to recognize all the charter donors that made this project happen. There are several areas within the Y that there will be signage where businesses gave generously to name a particular area, or family members were honored with really large donations. There are numerous other naming opportunities available. We would love to see your business recognized. We'd love to see your loved ones and family members recognized in there. So Bert Jones from the Winder Y, I think, has a offering plate that he was wanting to pass around. So no, but seriously, if you like what you see and you haven't given yet, please strongly consider making a donation. That will help us fast track the future phases of this project. If you've already given and you like what you see, please give more. You know, 10,000 apiece from this crowd would get us a long way towards getting everything built. But in any event, no, we want you to join too. I know there's a tendency when you can join a new facility like this to not tell anybody, so you have your own personal workout space, but we really want you to tell your friends and have everybody join. I've heard that I'm on the short list as member of the month, so I have my little membership badge, and the reason why I'm on a candidate for that is because I don't actually go in there and work out. I just pay money, so I don't sweat on the machines or anything like that. So we want we want members that are actually going to use the facilities, and again, we thank you for all your support. Please go do a tour. Please look out back at all the space that we have for future growth, and please give to this important project. Thank you.
2, 3.
And a tremendous weight room here, all kinds of workout equipment. This place is huge. It just goes on and on. And you can see the view out here from the workout room.
It's time for a nap. That was great food, great fellowship, and I just really appreciate y'all being here. This is overwhelming. Usually I have 4 people show up, 3 of them leave before I finish. But, and I just talk. I'm going to talk about Monroe history, and if you got somewhere else to be, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you leave. It's pretty tough to do, but I do appreciate you being here. I appreciate Bruce giving me this opportunity. And I know we tried a couple of times to get the wayfarers to the museum, and something gets in the way. They're laying carpet in there this morning. But one of these days we're going to get up there, and I'm going to take part of the time today and show you what's there. How many of you have ever been in the Monroe Museum? Well, that's encouraging. I appreciate that. So thank you for that. I'd like to take a moment now and have the volunteers that are here to stand up. I think we got a couple of them. No, yeah, Carol and Edith and Ann. So let's give these folks a hand, and I'll tell you why. Every Monday morning, we have 6 ladies that show up. These 3, we got, let's see, we got Linda Trail, who also goes to this church, and then we got a Methodist and Episcopalian that we let in there with us. Oh yeah, Linda Shin goes to this church also. But, they work. Edith has probably input over 10,000 names in our software. Carol catalogs stuff for us every day. Linda Shin has, if you go to our Facebook page and you've seen all the photographs that we're putting on there right now from Mr. Carnes, Linda Shin has spent a month and a half scanning negatives of those photographs. So we really appreciate those volunteers. And if you have some spare time on your hands, we're thinking about starting another day of volunteering. And if you'd like to do that, just let me know and I'll tell you what to do. All right. Without further ado, we'll start the program now. So I've got a laser pointer here, but I only got one, so I can't point at both screens. So if I have to point, let me tell you about my laser pointer. It's got ears. So you can go to Walmart to the pet department, and then the cat toys, you can get one of these for $1.50. It's great. I pass that along whenever I use that. All right, so the Monroe Museum is at 227 South Broad Street. That's the corner of Church Street and Broad Street. And our hours are right now Tuesday through Friday 10 to 6 and Saturday 10 to 4. And as I mentioned, we're closed, but we will be reopening next week. Now, the new parts that we're putting together will not be open next week, but what has been there will be there again next week. All right, I'm going to kind of take you on a virtual tour for a few minutes and show you some of what's there. This is an exhibit that features Anita Sams, who wrote our county history, Wayfarers in Walton. It's about 900 pages, and she spent over 10 years researching that. When she did that, there was no internet. It was published in 1967. I can click 3 times and find anything I want to know on the internet, and she had to drive to Atlanta to the archives when she wanted to know. I think she had a bedroom up there, but I'm not sure about that. But this is also interesting. If you have a copy of Wayfarers in Walton, and you look in the front of it, it has a quote from Nicholas Nickleby, a novel written by Charles Dickens. And in that quote, he mentions wayfarers. And that's where your name came from. So you can tell your grandchildren about that. That's in chapter 53. If you got a copy of Nicholas Nickleby, you can look that up. This exhibit is concerned with Mr. E.M. Carnes, who lived in a 2-story White House at the corner of Washington Street and Broad Street and made pictures in Monroe for over 50 years. He was an excellent top-of-the-line photographer, and we have every picture and every negative that remains of his, and we can thank Larry Witcher for saving those and passing them along to us. And we also have all his photographic equipment. We could fill up a large room with 100-year-old cameras and other enlargers and other equipment like that. So going into our main gallery, the first part tells you about the founding of Monroe and Walton County, and of course this land belonged to the Creek Indians before we took it away from them. We have documents there pictured here. Some of those documents hanging there over 200 years old, land grant documents and others. I would point out this one, which is signed by President James Monroe right down there in the corner right there. And of course James Monroe is our namesake. This one right here is a land grant document, I think from 1818 or 1819, and if you had a close-up you could see right there that it has the battleground prong of Jack's Creek. That's where the Battle of Jack's Creek was fought, that was the last encounter between the white settlers and the Indians east of the Oconee River. Let's go again. This is a exhibit that talks about the history of movies in Monroe, and it's a very interesting story. And this is just retail objects. How many of you grew up in Monroe? Anybody? Well, you might be old enough that you put a penny in this scale in front of Carmichael's and got not only your weight, but your fortune. Carmichael's, which at that time was on Broad Street where our tattoo parlor is now, Carmichael's is the second oldest business still in existence in Monroe. Anybody know the oldest? Yes? You can't answer, Ian. That's cheating. Walton Tribune. Walton Tribune was founded in 1900. Carmichael's came along in 1903. This is the entrance to three of our newer galleries. Our military gallery, this part of it, talks about the National Guard. That uniform belongs to General George Hearn, who was a Monroe native and served as Adjutant General of Georgia under 5 different governors. Imagine trying to keep 5 governors happy. This is a uniform that came along after the Vietnam War, and I would mention these artifacts are from First and Second World War. We've got newspapers there that were printed actually in Hawaii the morning the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And we also have an American flag that was given to Gene McIntosh, Monroe native. Gene McIntosh was a commander of the base at Cam Ranh Bay in Vietnam. And the last American flag was taken down when the Vietnam flag was put up, and that flag was folded and given to Commander McIntosh, and we have it in our exhibits there. And this is our Monroe Girls Corps, a part of the Monroe Girls Corps exhibit. When we started, this is what we were going to do. We were going to have a museum for the Monroe Girls Corps, and the more we looked into it and found the rest of Monroe's story, it just became overwhelming, and we decided to expand it. And I know if you didn't grow up here, if you don't know the story of the Girls Corps, it's really difficult to understand what that organization meant to this town. But when that group of girls were marching all over the eastern United States, anytime you told a person that you were from Monroe, Georgia, the first words out of their mouth would be, that's where the Girls Corps is. They marched in every town in Georgia, every city in the eastern United States. Oh, we got Girls Corps members in here. Several of them, right. And the gentleman in the photograph there, Wayne Shields, is the only director they ever had. They did 6 times in the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. They did a concert at Carnegie Hall in New York. They marched in Philadelphia, Chicago, Miami, you name it, they were there. And right over in the corner, you can't see it very well, but this picture, that's Joanne Peters. Joanne Peters was the national solo drumming champion. And she achieved that by defeating, count them, 16 boys. So, a lot to be proud of there. All right, this is our part of our governor's gallery. I'm sure you've heard we are the cradle of governors. We've had 8 governors that lived here, and we're going to talk about a few of them a little later. But that's actually Governor McDaniel and his father, Ira McDaniel. This is an exhibit that we just put up that concerns Moena Michael. That's her dress, and she was the Poppy Lady, for those of you who don't know. And she started the Poppy campaign in about 1918, right at the end of World War I. And if you've lived here long enough to know Mendel's grocery store, this is Perry Mendel's World War I uniform in there with her. Now, that Poppy campaign still goes on today, and to date has raised over $3 billion, that's with a B, and there are some notable people that wear those poppies. They don't look like they're real happy, but got nothing to do with the poppies. Okay, just a little to show you why we can't, you need to back up one. Well, no, Okay, we're missing one. That's okay. You know, technology is wonderful when it works. Anyway, we're go forward now. This is a new gallery that we hadn't opened yet. It's going to be an art and portrait gallery, and of course that'll be on the walls, and we're going to use the room as a meeting room. Well, we couldn't have this meeting in there, but we can have smaller meetings in there. And we have a lot of portraits. This gentleman right here is Pinckney Daniel Pollock. He was president of Mercer University and a member of our church. And this gentleman is Harry Bell Lanyas, who along with his wife found the General Charitable Foundation, which published the Wayfarers in Walton, and it still exists under another name now. It's done a lot of work in our town. But among the greatest that will appear in the gallery is the Goat Man. And we have this picture of the Goat Man, and not only does it have the artist's signature on it, let's go to the next one, it has the Goat Man's signature and his thumbprint. How many of y'all know what the Goat Man is? Well, there we go. Okay, next. Well, what? The Goat Man, Charles McCartney was his name. He traveled, I say the southeast, but he probably went further than that, with a herd of goats and a wagon, and just went from town to town. He preached and was just a character is the best word for him. He'd show up in town, stay a while, you know. He was just, it was like when he showed up, everybody went out to see him. It was like the fair coming to town. So this, this is our new agriculture and industry gallery, which will be opening in another month or so. Now, all these things you see on the wall, those are just mock-ups. All of that will be replaced with nice stuff that Gary Potter puts together for us. And we're going to have some really good stuff in there. I'll show you a couple. Let's go one more. All these tractors and all this is part of Conrad Barnes' collection of John Deere equipment. And we used to have a farm north of town called Deere Acres, where they'd bring John Deere dealers into town and teach them about the equipment so they could go back home and sell it. And Conrad collected every piece of equipment that it was ever at the Deere Acres up there. That's actually why Conrad came to town and worked there. But predating that is this. This is the actual plow that John Deere used. God, y'all will believe anything, won't you? It's not really, but it is a John Deere plow. It has John Deere on it right there. All right, let's leave the museum now and talk a little about Monroe. So we already mentioned that this land belonged to the Creek Indians until a treaty in 1802 that moved the Indians west of the Oconee River, and this became part of the United States. This is a map that Anita Sams drew of the way Walton County looked at its inception, and that was in 1818. So next slide, there we go. There was a little town right here in the middle of the county, and it was called Spring Place. And the road running through it was called Rogues Road, and that was named after Mr. Murrell. I forget his first name, but he was a horse thief. And he ran his horses up and down that trail and hid them in cane brakes until he could sell them off. But Spring Place was a nice place to be. It had good land, it had a moderate climate, and it had ample water. If you look right there is our church. That's where we're sitting right now. And right down here behind it is the city spring. And so if you go down to Children's Park and cross that little bridge, you're crossing Monroe City Spring. That's where Spring Street gets its name. Originally, Spring Street just went to that spring. It didn't go any further. Okay, so in 1818, Walton County was chartered, and along with Walton County came Hall County and Gwinnett County. What do those three counties have in common?
Signers of the Declaration.
History teacher got it. Walton, Hall, and Gwinnett were the three Georgia signers of the Declaration of Independence. And all three of those counties were chartered at the same time. Bear County, who somebody mentioned, didn't actually come along until 1914, and it was part of our land and part of Jackson County, and I think part of Gwinnett was put together to create Bear County.
Named after Clyde Barrow.
Yeah, it's named after Clyde. That's not true. It was named after somebody, Bear, but I don't know that. I'm the Monroe historian. All right, let's go again. There's the answer. Next. Okay, so in 1820 or thereabouts, the county was divided into 4 districts, and those districts were surveyed into land lots of 250 acres each, and that's a map of all those land lots. All right, go again, and again, and again. And so Lot 65, we're sitting in Lot 65 right now, a part of it. A gentleman drew, the people that got to draw land were, for the most part, Revolutionary veterans, their widows, their orphans, whatever. So, but a guy drew Lot 65, but he was real happy where he lived. I think he lived in Jones County, I'm not sure. But he didn't want to come here, so he sold Lot 65 to a gentleman named Elijah Betts for $400. Elijah Betts was a nice guy, and he turned around and let's go again. And he sold 50 of those 250 acres to the town for $1. And this is the deed that tells about that transaction. And my ancestor would be upset if I didn't share with you the fact that right here on the bottom, my 4th great-grandfather witnessed that deed. Greenberry Haynes, a common everyday name. All right, and Mr. Elijah Betts is also credited with telling us that we needed to change the name of Spring Place to Monroe, and that was done. So as soon as that happened, the people were so excited about Monroe getting that land and getting the name and all, that they went out in the middle of Broad Street and played a game of soccer. And now see, Bruce told you I was going to tell you about some. And in our archives at the museum, we have the actual soccer ball that was used for that game. I think this is an appropriate time to share some wisdom with you that's passed on to me from my friend, the professor of useless knowledge, Mr. Larry Whitcher, who told me one time, never let the truth get in your way of a good story. All right, so let's get back to something that makes sense. So on November 30th, 1821, Monroe was made the county seat of Walton County. And then Elijah Betts, who had done so much for our county, sold his property at the corner of Washington and Broad Street, where he lived, to Nehemiah Johnson. And Elijah Betts lost his mind and moved to Gwinnett County and was never heard of again. But Nehemiah Johnson, that's a good story, because Nehemiah came here on horseback from Rhode Island and was a house painter, didn't have any money to speak of. And he became a merchant, and then by 1841 he was a judge, and he had accumulated a lot of money. In 1863, at the height of the Civil War, he died. And the laws of the Confederacy would not let him send his money back to Rhode Island where his family lived. And so he gave all that money to the education of underprivileged children in Walton County. And so out of that, Johnson Institute was built. Some of you who live here might be familiar with Johnson Institute. It was a part of our school system from 1867 up to, I'd guess, maybe 1990 or later than that. This is not the school that you remember. This school actually stood right down the hill here behind the Tabernacle Baptist Church next to the city spring. And it actually had home in several different places. One of them being where Governor McDaniel built his house. That was where the school was at one time. And then the one that we probably remember most is this one that's down on South Broad Street, which was built in 1927. Just to give you a couple of people that graduated from Johnson Institute, one was Governor Clifford Walker, and he graduated in 1893 from that school. Another one was Mary Creswell, who, how many of you know who Mary Creswell is? That's right. Mary Creswell was the first female to graduate from the University of Georgia with a bachelor's degree. She went on to become Georgia's first female dean. She was dean of the School of Home Economics. And Creswell Residence Hall was built to honor her, and right now it's undergoing a $116 million renovation. She, along with the rest of her family, is buried right up the street in Rest Haven Cemetery. Okay, let's talk a little about our historic courthouse. The first, everybody thinks this courthouse up here is the first one we had. It's not, it's the fourth. So, this is the first one. The first courthouse we had was built in 1821 by Benjamin Hammock, and he got paid $50 to build it. It was built from cedar logs. It was a 2-story building, and we're not even sure that it sat up here where the historic courthouse is now. It probably did, but we don't know for sure. It was a 2-story building, and we weren't. Go ahead. There we go. All right. Now, this is not a picture of that courthouse. This is just a picture I found on the internet. But you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so you know that is a 2-story log building. So, I mean, 1821. Who was going to make a picture back then? All right. The first brick courthouse was built 2 years later in 1823, and that lasted a good while. The second brick courthouse was built in 1846. Both of those were they were much closer to Broad Street than the courthouse that's there now. And then finally in 1883, our beautiful historic courthouse was built. It was designed by Bruce and Morgan, who were an architectural team from Atlanta. If you ever drive through Walnut Grove and you take a right toward, that's not a right, you take a left toward Covington, there's a beautiful house that'd be on your left there, the Broadneck's house. Bruce and Morgan also designed that house. If you look at the windows, they're very similar to the windows in our courthouse. And what else did they design? Well, they designed our second sanctuary. This is it. It was built in the late 1880s. And served us well. Okay, I want to take a few minutes and tell you not about the 8 governors that have lived in Walton County, but about the 4 governors that were actually born here. And the first one is Wilson Lumpkin, and Wilson Lumpkin was a charter member of our church. He was a state legislator. He was governor of Georgia from 1831 to 1835. He was a U.S. congressman. He was commissioner of the Cherokee Nation. And he was one of the creators of the Western and Atlantic Railroad. He brought the railroad to the state of Georgia, and he received a lot of recognition for doing that. And he was a trustee of the University of Georgia also. Now, he had 3 kids. The only one whose name I know is Martha, and she's the little girl up there with her 2 brothers. Martha Lumpkin was born about where John's Supermarket is, on South Broad Street. And if you remember your Georgia history, the first name of Atlanta was what? Wrong. First name of Atlanta was Terminus, because it was the end of the railroad. The second name of Atlanta was Marthasville, and it was named for Governor Lumpkin's daughter, Martha. And then later, they changed the name to Atlanta, and Martha said, "Oh, well, isn't that a coincidence? Atlanta's my middle name." Well, it wouldn't. All right, so second person I'd like to tell you about is Mr. Alfred Colquitt. Alfred Colquitt was a Georgia state legislator. He was a U.S. representative. He was governor of Georgia. He was a United States senator. And he was a native of Monroe. And he was born right there where Scoop's ice cream parlor is, with an ice cream spoon in his mouth. Now, he was not born in Scoop's ice cream parlor. He may have been born in this house, which stood there. Now, he may have been born in a house that was there before this one, but this house stood where Scoop's is today. And it was built. The only thing we know about it is that Stephen Felker, who's the guy sitting up there in the rocking chair, go again, right here. This picture's made in 1885. He died in 1898, I believe. But Stephen Felker lived there. We know he lived there from 1841. But we don't know if the house was there early. Colquitt was born in 1824. So I'm not sure that house was there or was another house, but we know that that's where Colquitt was born. Some of you may remember that there used to be a restaurant in that house called Melinda's. Well, this is Melinda. She was Stephen's wife. And Bill Smith, who was a member of our church, ran that restaurant. It's one of the most popular restaurants in Monroe. All right, let's move on to Henry McDaniel. Henry McDaniel was born in Monroe. He was the son of Ira McDaniel, who was an Atlanta businessman and city councilman in Atlanta, and helped build the first brick business in the city of Atlanta. He was a major with the Walton Infantry during the Civil War, and he was seriously wounded. They thought he was going to die. Actually, the Confederate Army left him behind because he was unable to travel. He had a metal plate in his stomach for the rest of his life, but he survived. He spent the remainder of the war in a northern prison, and then he came back to Monroe after the war and practiced law for a while, and then he was elected governor of Georgia in 1883, from 1883 to 1886. His administration was responsible for building our state capitol, and realizing that you can never get everything right, he also started Georgia Tech. All right. He was married to Stephen Felker's daughter, Hester Felker, and together they built this house. You may not recognize this house, but today it looks like this. It was remodeled in the 1930s by the Ticheners, which were descendants of Governor McDaniel, and they completely changed the style of the house. All right, let's go ahead now to Governor McDaniel's cousin, Clifford Walker. Clifford Walker, as we already mentioned, graduated from Johnson Institute. He was a native son of Monroe. He was actually mayor of Monroe in 1902 and in 03, and he was Attorney General of Georgia. And I'll step to the side and mention right now that we also had another Attorney General who lived here, George Napier, whose house was where the Episcopal Church is today, and he was the Attorney General of Georgia also. Clifford Walker was governor from 1923 to 1927. He was a trustee of Mercer and Shorter Universities, and he was one of the founders of the Woodrow Wilson College of Law. Now, he built this house on McDaniel Street, and it's right across the street from Governor McDaniel's house. So if you go stand up there in their front yard, that's the only place on earth you can stand between two governor's mansions. I'm gonna keep saying that till somebody proves me wrong. All right, so our last governor is this gentleman, Richard Hubbard, which you may not have ever heard of. But Richard was born a little further south than John's supermarket. He was born down actually on the Social Circle Highway, or right off the Social Circle Highway, and which of course makes him a Monroe native. But his family moved to Texas when he was a child, and in 1876 he was elected the governor of Texas. So we have 3 Georgia governors and 1 Texas governor born in Monroe. When he became governor, and still today, he is the largest governor Texas has ever had, tipping the scales somewhere around 400 pounds. They like stuff big in Texas. Okay. Now, I want to let you know that next month I'm going to do the history of the church on Wednesday night. What is that, the 7th? May the 7th? May the 7th. So come back then, you can learn all about the church. But for today, that's it. And I certainly appreciate you being here.
Your community. This is your hometown. This is Walton Entertainment. This is where you can hear from the community and those making a difference.